We're going to cover the last new feature of the new motor limit tool, which is system settings. So I'm going to use my down arrow to navigate to system settings. From here, I have a couple of different options. I can do a factory reset. This is going to factory reset everything that is on the network. I recommend not doing this unless you absolutely have to. This is going to cause you to have to go back and reprogram anything on the network that was previously programmed. One thing I suggest trying before doing a factory reset is navigating down to restart devices. This is essentially like rebooting your computer. It restarts all the devices, lets them get a clean slate without doing a factory reset. This is a good tool for troubleshooting, so I would definitely recommend trying to restart the devices before moving to a full factory reset of the system. Another option you have is to set a global override time. So if you want all of your switches, AV control, any external out or any external control to have the same override time, you can simply set that from here. By default, it is set to none because each device can have its override time set up manually at the individual level. But if you do want to master override time, you can simply set that from here by highlighting override time, hitting enter, selecting edit, and then again, just moving it in single minute increments to get to the time that you would like the override time to be set at. The last option, or the last menu option that you have in system settings, is NDC commands. With the release of the NDC3 and the NDC1 with built-in intelligence, they do have the ability to have commands sent to them. So we're going to cover that here. So I'm going to navigate down to NDC commands and hit enter. LEDs. Some feedback we got from the field was that the LEDs were sometimes a distraction. So what we did with the new motor, or the new NDC, is we give you the option to turn those LEDs off. By default, they are going to be set to on, but if you have an open ceiling concept and you need those to be off, you can simply navigate to LEDs, hit enter, highlight it, navigate to off, hit enter, and as you can see, all the LEDs on my NDC have gone off. I'm going to go ahead and turn those back on because I like them. All right, terminate. So the NDC1 and NDC3 has auto termination. You never have to think about it. But for some reason, if the termination happens to turn on in the middle of a network, or you have a wiring issue that's causing termination to turn on somewhere other than the end of the line, you can use this to turn that off. So terminate is by default set to auto. You can simply select that to off. I would recommend leaving that to auto unless you're using it as a troubleshooting tool. Filter, as you can see on the NDC, we have 3 blue LEDs because each device port now has port isolation, meaning that they filter out any garbage that they may sense on the line due to faulty wiring, bad devices, something like that. Again, if you have an instance to where you need to turn the filter off for some reason, we have that built in. Again, by default, it's going to be set to auto filter. If you want to turn that off, you just simply highlight it, hit enter, select off, and hit enter again to save. Again, I prefer to have the filter on. It lets me know if I have issues on my network. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that to auto. The last thing that I'm going to cover is the show version. This is something that will come up from time to time if you call into technical support looking for troubleshooting help. We may ask you the firmware version of what the device is that you're working on. For the NDC, it does not have a screen, so we're going to rely on the LEDs to tell us what firmware version it is. So you can simply go to select a version, hit enter, and then your power LED is going to blink the firmware version number that we have. The blinks are going to be very consistent with what you have come to know with I/O, so a long drawn out blink is going to be 10. A faster blink is going to be 1. So we would just ask, if you call in and we ask you what version it is, this is how you would select that. You're going to watch the power blinks, then you're going to relay that information back to us. If you have any further questions or concerns, please contact Draper Technical Support at 1-800-238-7999 and select option 3.